Sagittarius, have you ever found yourself in a state where every morning you wake up not quite sure where you're headed? As if you're alive, but not really living. You're breathing, but you don't feel like you're here. Everything around you goes on as usual, work, responsibilities, relationships, but inside you there's a vast, silent space. Not noisy, not painful, just empty. And then one day, you look up at the sky, for no particular reason, and in that moment, you know something is coming. No one told you. There's no clear evidence. But your soul whispers, "Get ready." I've met many Sagittarians in my life, and there's a quiet truth most people don't see about you. You're incredibly good at enduring in silence, not because you're weak, but because you believe everything happens for a reason. If you just keep moving forward, something good will eventually find you. You've been through many seasons where the only light you had was the faith burning quietly inside your heart. And today, I want to be the first to say this to you. You were right. Sagittarius, the tarot reading today comes like a confirmation that everything you once believed in is beginning to bloom into reality. 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, and the World. This isn't some vague promise about the future. It's a bold declaration that you've completed a major spiritual cycle. A cycle in which you forgave those who never apologized, gave without expecting anything in return, chose to believe even when there was no proof it would be worth it. I know, there were moments you thought you'd wasted your time. You asked yourself, was I too naive to keep believing in the good? But Sagittarius, no act born from unconditional love is ever meaningless. Not a single prayer you send to the void went unheard. You just kept giving, kept living truthfully, kept loving as if you could never be hurt again. And to the world, you may have looked foolish, but to the universe, you were the chosen one. There's a lesson I've learned from you, from the soul of Sagittarius. True happiness doesn't come from finding all the answers, it comes from the courage to keep living even without them. And that is why today you're being rewarded, because the universe doesn't reward those who always got it right. The universe rewards those who never gave up. Pay attention to what starts happening around you in the coming days. The little things, an old friend suddenly reaching out, an unexpected opportunity presenting itself, a dream returning that stirs something deep within you. These aren't coincidences, they are signals, and you'll know when it arrives, because this time you won't feel the need to control it. You'll simply feel that everything is arriving exactly on time. If you've ever felt abandoned by life, if you've ever thought, maybe this reward just isn't meant for me, then allow me to ask you one thing. If the universe has taught you patience, if it has forged you through loss, through separation, through betrayal, could all of that really have happened just to let you collapse at the very end? No, Sagittarius, never. You don't need to do anything more to be worthy. You don't need to run faster, be better, look younger, be more loved. You just need to stay with yourself. You've already come so far. Now is the time for you to be still and still be chosen, to be loved without having to prove yourself, to receive without paying with your soul. If these words are touching something in you, leave a vow in the comments like, "I'm ready to receive what has always been mine." Or simply, "I'm no longer running, I choose to stay and receive." That sentence is a spiritual contract, and when you affirm it, the universe affirms you right back. But this is only the beginning. Because what's coming isn't just recognition, it's a soul connection being drawn toward you. Someone who isn't arriving to replace what was lost, but to open something you've never had and have always deserved. We're going to talk about that person right now. Do you remember what it feels like to meet someone who doesn't need you to explain yourself and still sees you? Not in the way the world does, not through your age, your status, your history, but in a way that makes you feel lighter, as if just being you is enough. If you're in your middle years, chances are you've had at least one relationship where you thought you'd found the one. And then one day, it unraveled. Not always because of fault, but simply because you no longer moved in rhythm. Maybe you divorced after years of building together. Maybe your partner passed away. Or maybe it was a deep love that fate gently turned away. Whatever the case, the common thread is this. You learned how to live alone without truly feeling lonely. You got back up, You learned how to go grocery shopping alone, how to eat dinner by yourself, sleep by yourself, drive long distances by yourself, and eventually you stopped crying when you did those things. But somewhere inside you, there's still that quiet question. Is there someone, somewhere who's walking a path just like mine? And I'm here to tell you, yes, there is someone, a soul, who's been walking alongside you. They may not know your name, but they've felt your presence. They too have experienced loss. They too have sat in their car on a quiet weekend afternoon, listening to an old song, thinking about what could have been. Sagittarius, this person isn't coming to complete you because you've already learned how to complete yourself. They're coming to walk with you, not to take up your space, but to step into it, gently, as if they've always belonged there. Maybe you've already met them, in the form of an old friend, a colleague, a neighbor who always smiles when you walk by. Maybe you never noticed, because you've gotten used to not expecting, used to saying, I'm fine. I don't need anyone anymore. But Sagittarius, there's a difference between not needing anyone and being chosen by someone, even when you don't need to be. Maybe you never really noticed, because you got used to not expecting, used to saying, I'm okay, I don't need anyone anymore. But Sagittarius, there's a difference between not needing anyone and being chosen by someone, even when you don't need to be. I once heard a 57-year-old woman say, I don't need someone to fill the emptiness. I just want someone to sit next to me without making me feel like I have to pretend I'm okay. And that is exactly the feeling the universe is trying to bring to you right now. True love at this stage of life doesn't come wrapped in intensity or drama. It arrives with respect, with the ability to listen, with the space to let each other just be. It's no longer about grand promises, but about small, steady actions. A cup of tea made before you even ask. A message just to check if you got home safe. A hug not too tight, but enough to let you finally let your guard down. The King of Wands appeared in today's reading as a confirmation of this energy. Not controlling, not dominating, just someone who understands that love doesn't block each other's path. It looks ahead, together. They're not here to save you. They're here to build something with you that you never quite believed could be real, but always deserved. If you feel like someone is being drawn closer to you, write a vow to yourself, something like, I'm ready to open my heart, not because I'm lacking, but because I'm already full. Because this isn't just a love story. This connection didn't arrive just to ease your loneliness. It came to activate something sacred inside of you, something that has been asleep for a long time. And when two energies like this meet, a doorway opens. In the next part, we're going to step right into that doorway. Because love doesn't come from emptiness, it comes from awakening. There is a kind of love where you no longer have to shrink yourself to be kept. No longer have to ignore your pain just to keep the peace. No longer have to close your eyes and pretend just because you're afraid of being alone. That love no longer comes from lack. It comes from a heart that has learned how to heal itself. Sagittarius, you've lived long enough to know that love doesn't equal harmony. At 20, you might ignore the long silences. At 30, you might make excuses for the distance. But somewhere after 40, you begin to understand peace isn't a luxury, it's a requirement. You've loved from a place of lack before and tried to fill the void with devotion, sacrifice, and tolerance. You've stayed in relationships not because they were beautiful, but because the idea of starting over felt unbearable. But you know what, Sagittarius? That wasn't love. That was fear. Love is opening your heart to share. Fear is holding on tight because you're afraid to lose. One is freedom. The other is control. True love doesn't come to heal your wounds. True love arrives after you've already bandaged yourself up, stood back up, and learned how to hold yourself gently. And in the exact moment you stop searching for love as an escape from loneliness and start living as a light to be shared, that's when real love finds you. I once met a woman in her 60s. Her husband had passed nearly 20 years earlier. She lived alone, taught yoga, cooked for her neighbors, and she laughed a lot. When I asked her if she still hoped for love, she said, if someone shows up, he better learn how to walk softly. Because I rebuilt this heart with 2 hands and a single thread of belief, and I won't let anyone tear it down again. The Ace of Pentacles in today's reading is the symbol of that kind of love. A new opportunity. But it's not here to rescue you. It's here to build with you. You're no longer loving like someone lost at sea, grabbing for the first floating piece of wood you can find. You're the one who made it to shore, who learned how to build shelter, light fires, survive the winter. And now, you only open the door when someone knocks. With empty hands and a true heart. You no longer need to prove your worth to be loved. You don't have to be easy, say less, feel less, just to stay in someone's heart. And if someone comes and they can't see the light you carry, remember this. You are not a broken lamp. They are simply not the one designed to see you. Sagittarius, you've come a long way, just to return to yourself. And now, if someone enters your life, they're not coming to fill a void. They're coming to help you fill life with everything real. If some part of you is quietly nodding right now, leave a vow to yourself in the comments. I choose to love from the place where I've already healed. Or, I don't need to be saved, I just need to be walked beside. Because this love isn't just between two people. It's a mirror, reflecting who you've become in your most luminous, grown, awakened form. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't just heal your heart. It soothes the wounds that have been passed down through generations. In the next part, we'll step deeper into that sacred territory, where you begin to liberate not just yourself, but your entire lineage. Sagittarius, hear this clearly. You are not cursed, but you might be unconsciously repeating a curse. And I know, you don't mean to. No one wakes up saying, today I'm going to hurt myself, with the same thoughts I had yesterday. But every time you say, I already know, nothing good ever comes for me. Or, of course I'll be left again. You send a silent command out into your life. The universe doesn't distinguish between what's true and what's fear you've repeated too many times. It only responds to the energy you put out, and it mirrors it right back. And this is the biggest warning your reading offers today, through the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups. You might miss something extraordinary, not because it never came, but because you were too distracted to recognize it. Sagittarius, you've been waiting for something real, and it's closer than it's ever been. But if you keep seeing life through the same old lens, you'll mistake the miracle for a problem, and call something beautiful too good to be true. Ask yourself, are you sabotaging a budding connection because you secretly fear you're not enough? Are you turning down an opportunity because you're still living in the shadow of past failures? Are you reliving the same old story simply because pain feels more familiar than joy? You used to think, if something good comes, I'll know it. But no, Sagittarius. Blessings don't always knock with bright lights and cinematic music. Sometimes, they arrive as something so small you can barely believe it matters. A message you almost didn't reply to, an invitation you nearly turned down, an intuition you ignored because you were too busy to feel. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect. It only needs you to stop overlooking the sacred signs it's sending you. And here's the most dangerous part. The stronger your energy becomes, the faster what you believe turns real. Think negative, and you'll draw in what you fear. Think you're unworthy, and you'll convince others it must be true. Believe everything beautiful is fake, and you'll never see the real. Right now, the universe is standing with you at a crossroads. One path is what's familiar, safe but repeating. The other is unknown, uncertain but capable of changing everything. And what moves me most is, you're finally old enough, deep enough, and wise enough to choose right. If you feel yourself being woken up by these words, leave a statement in the comments like, I stop resisting what is good, or I choose trust over fear. That's not a polite affirmation. That's a spiritual command you send into the universe. And today's warning isn't here to scare you. It's here to remind you, the very thing you've been waiting for is closer than it has ever been. The only question now is, will you trust it enough not to miss it? In the next part, we'll discover what happens when you choose to believe, and when you step into the stage of building something unshakable, stability, truth, and a destiny planted by your own heart. Sagittarius, real love doesn't run, and you're not running anymore. You're no longer the one looking for the missing piece. You're the one building the foundation. This is no longer about who loves who more or who needs who most. This is the beginning of a completely different kind of connection, a bond between two whole souls, not to consume each other, but to grow together. The Four of Wands and the Star showed up like twin pillars in your reading. One, stability and celebration. The other, divine guidance and light. And you, Sagittarius, you're standing between them now. You may have once believed your chance was gone, that stable love was a myth past a certain age. But the truth is, sometimes the sacred doesn't arrive early because it's waiting for you to be ready. Not just ready to receive, but ready to keep. You've had love before, but without a foundation. Like the marriage you fought to save, even when conversations died years ago. Or the deep connection that never dared speak of the future. You've had opportunity, but lacked belief. You've had companionship, but without maturity. And now, all the pieces are finally beginning to return. A lasting love is not built in a day. It's shaped by small, repeated actions, rooted in truth. A soft touch after a disagreement, an honest conversation not avoided, a shared plan, even if it's just planting flowers in the yard. It doesn't have to be grand, just consistent, sincere, present. Because love isn't a miracle. It's the spiritual home you build every day, brick by brick. If that person has already entered your life, you'll notice they didn't come to shake you to your core like before. They came as a place, a quiet stability you never knew you needed until you had it. And if they haven't appeared yet, trust that every piece you're healing right now is clearing the path for them to come closer. Not rushed, not lacking, not off time. You know, emotional self-mastery doesn't mean you don't need anyone. It means you no longer let anyone else decide who you are. And that is the strongest foundation for love there is. The Ace of Pentacles returns again. Once more, it signals that this is the moment to begin something lasting, something rooted. Not love to escape your pain, but love to walk alongside you on a new path where both of you can grow. If you feel like you're exactly in this phase, leave yourself a sign. I no longer build castles in the sand. I build on truth, with someone who sees forward. Sagittarius, you've walked a long way, through heartbreak, through doubt, into self-awareness and conscious choice. And now your faith is no longer a fragile hope, it's a steady foundation. You're no longer someone searching for the answer, you are the answer. And if your heart is stirring right now, don't stay silent. Confirm it to the universe. Leave a vow in the comments. I have returned, and this time I walk in light. Or something simple and true. I choose to believe and never look back. Because maybe, just maybe, the words you write today will become the marker of a brand new chapter. Not just for you, but for a soul out there who finds the light because you chose to shine. You are ready. And the universe is waiting for your yes.